At this point, are the Hornets going to win the championship? We talk about it today. Locked On Hornets.
You are Locked On Hornets, your daily Charlotte Hornets podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
In a minute, cuz we live.
Come on in, you sick freaks. The Hornets are the best team in the league, and we're here to talk about it. It's Walker Mail, it's Doug Branson, it's Evan Hale behind the scenes. We appreciate you making Locked On Hornets your first listen every single day. We're available on any major podcast platform. That also includes YouTube. If you're watching us go live on YouTube, like right now, you see Doug, who already has on the big dub hat. You knew it was coming if you were going to tune in to Locked On Hornets, and that's exactly what he does right away. Sometimes we forget, but we're not going to forget to put the big dub hat on this time. Doug Branson, everyhornetsboxscore.com. Go check it out. Also, go watch Yahoo Sports Daily with Jason Fitz and Caroline Fenton. And I'm Walker Mail. Listen to me, WFNZ, every weekday from 12 to 3 p.m. Sports Radio, 92.7 FM. I'm out of breath. Whew, I need to take a deep breath after all that, after what we just watched. Here, I'm going to try to break it down before I pass the baton off to you. Okay. Doug, the Hornets just beat the Celtics 118-89 on the road on the second night of a back-to-back. After the Hornets had mechanical issues with their plane last night, so they don't even get into Boston until 4 a.m. What do they do? What do they do if they actually get a good night's rest? Do they win by 60? Anyways, all right. The Hornets, they beat the Celtics 118-89. It's the Celtics' largest loss of the season, losing by 29. Boston never led in this game. It marks Boston's second wire-to-wire loss of the season. It's the first since November 1st, okay, all the way back November 1st against the Rockets. It's the Celtics' third 20-point loss of the season. So the Hornets just beat the second-best team in the Eastern Conference, a squad already having tallied 40 wins on the year. So what does it mean for Charlotte? They've won 6 straight. They've won 10 straight road games. The NBA record is 16, if memory serves correct, with Eric Collins having mentioned that on the previous broadcast when the Hornets won the first night of a back-to-back, beating Dallas by 27. All right, they beat the Celtics by more than they beat the Dallas Mavericks. Now the Hornets, again, having won 6 straight games. They won each of those games by 15-plus points. It's the longest streak by any team since the 2017-2018 Warriors. Hey, they were pretty good. It's tied for the second longest streak in NBA history. LaMelo Ball is a maestro. Brandon Miller takes his turn, running bleep. Con Knipple, he got back on track tonight, had 20 points going into the fourth quarter. Hornets have a non-Melo ball handler, so now you don't have to rely on LaMelo being on the court for this offense not to go into complete shambles. LaMelo still the maestro of all maestros, and now the Hornets can tread water, and even more so, even go a little freestyle swimming in that water with Coby White handling the basketball. I'll ask you the question. Are the Hornets just going to win the championship, Doug Branson? Is that what we're watching this year in 2025, 2026? Are we watching a championship contender?
I already came into this game saying that there wasn't any need at this point in time to put a ceiling on what the Charlotte Hornets could accomplish. We spent all preseason doing that, like saying, well, you know, with this and that, maybe this could happen and that. All bets are off at this point. I think with the way they came into this game, the Hornets and the Celtics 1-2 in net rating starting in January 1 for the calendar year. These were the top 2 teams in net rating. And what you just saw was a massive win by the Charlotte Hornets, decimating their opponent. And I'll just read you, I haven't finished my game notes yet for Every Hornets box score because I just had to run upstairs as fast as I could and get here on the live to say "Top-ho" to the live listeners as loud as I can without waking up the baby. Thank you so much to everybody. I mean, look, there's so many chats right now. I'm just going to have to randomly fire a few as we go through the show. But I haven't finished my game notes yet, but I just want to read to you what the first sentence I have down in my top of the line recap. The Charlotte Hornets reached their full form Wednesday night in Boston. They understood the assignment. They took this game as seriously as you could possibly take it from tip-off to final horn. They began the game with purpose, and that purpose was to destroy, was to annihilate, was to send a message to the rest of the NBA, and that message is the Hornets are here, they're here to stay, and there's not a single thing you can do about it.
So the Hornets now they've beaten a lot of contenders for the NBA championship. We can go back all the way to January 5th, the turn of the new year, when they beat the Oklahoma City Thunder 124-97. And that was the, hey, everybody, it's time to wake up moment. Just pay attention. Just don't sleep on the Hornets, okay? You might think that this was an outlier, but everybody started talking about them a lot more from a national perspective after they beat the Thunder by almost 30 points. Then they'd have a couple of monstrous wins. They beat the Jazz by like 50. All right, whatever. They beat the Lakers by almost 20. Okay, Lakers, not all that crazy impressive, but fine, whatever. Then the next big win that they had, the next big one was against San Antonio on national television via Amazon with Eric and Dell still on the call. But they came back, and they actually showed a clip of Hornets Real Access in the pregame show with Shannon and Dell. And that clip on Hornets Real Access that they showed goes all the way back to that game against San Antonio, and it gives us a peek into the locker room when Charles Lee is challenging his team. Hey, last time we played on national television, I think we allowed the distractions to seep in, and we ended up losing that game. Here, against the Spurs, we need to keep our focus, and it's exactly what they did, and they beat San Antonio at home 111-106. Now here they are, having beaten the Boston Celtics 118-89. The Spurs game, it wasn't a trouncing of them, but it was still a pretty comfortable victory over the Spurs. They went into the locker room, I think, up 17 against San Antonio. So, Doug, you look at also the other fact that when you look at the NBA standings in the Western Conference, there was one point when they had beaten the top 4 seeds. Denver, okay, you can throw that out because they didn't have Jokic. Fine, whatever. They beat OKC. They beat San Antonio. They beat Houston. They only beat them by 10. They allowed the Rockets back to make that a little bit closer than what it really was in the fourth quarter. They beat the Lakers, and so now that's 5 of the top 6. The only team they didn't beat was Minnesota. There's just nothing else that you can say to convince people this team isn't real if they don't believe it right now. Last thing, though, I don't think we have that problem anymore. I don't think that there's any convincing that we need to do. I think people understand the Charlotte Hornets are very real, and I want no part of them if that is a team that we could potentially play in the first-round playoff series.
Got a great live comment here on YouTube. If you're listening to this the morning after, check out our YouTube page if you haven't already, youtube.com/@LockedOnHornets. We have a lot of fun. This is a comment from Nady2468 who said, my favorite thing from the Hornets this year is when Charles Lee went in the locker room and said having fun is going and kicking the other team's bleep. And man, that's all we've done. We're having fun now. Are we having fun yet? We absolutely are. And with all due respect to all of those amazing games that you just mentioned and the results and the whoopings that the Hornets have put on those other teams, honestly, to me, those other games are rendered meaningless in the face of what they've just done to the Boston Celtics. This wasn't belt to ass, folks. This was Celt to ass. They threw him in the harbor. I mean, this was a taking apart. You could see I saw it in the second quarter. The body language on the Boston Celtics was terrible, and the Celtics had come into this game on a really good streak themselves. I mean, I think they had won like 7 of their last 10. It wasn't like the Celtics came into this game limping. In fact, the Hornets limped into Boston at 4 o'clock in the morning because their plane had troubles on the second night of a back-to-back. And then they said, doesn't matter because our grasshopper in Charles Lee is going to bite the head off of your sensei in Joe Mazzulla, who needed a hug. He needed another 17 timeouts. He needed something. Maybe he needs Jason Tatum. I don't know, but they couldn't handle the Charlotte Hornets on a Wednesday night in March.
Jaylen Brown was frustrated, got the technical foul. And you're right, it was the Hornets limping. Their plane was limping heading into Boston. And they get in at 4 a.m. on the second night of a back-to-back. And even still, they come away with a victory. We'll get to more of the details here coming up next on the Locked On Hornets podcast.
Woo!
Wow.
Bees everywhere!
I don't believe it. I almost don't believe that we're doing this. We're talking about a team that everyone loves.
Right. Who hates the Hornets?
Everyone loves them. It's wild stuff. All right, we'll get into more details on this victory over Boston coming up next, LOH. This episode is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Welcome to the 5 Hour Energy Flavor Draft with 18 different flavors to choose from, including new options like Confetti Craze, Fruity Rainbow, or Cotton Candy. There is something for everyone. The board is set, the flavors are ready, and I've got my number one pick for the 5 Hour Energy Flavor Draft. Now, there were a ton of interesting creative flavors that I just listed. 5 Hour Energy still creating new ones. I'm kind of a classic guy. I really like grape, and I like the citrusy flavors, the lemon, the lime. Those would be among the top picks, and then I might get a little wild as we get a little deeper into the draft, but it's phenomenal stuff. You could highlight any sweet flavor that you want to. You can tackle it that way at the gas station. You could go get it really anywhere. Find your new favorite flavor of 5 Hour Energy shots available at 5hourenergy.com or Amazon. Again, 5hourenergy.com, or you can get them at Amazon. More Locked On Hornets ahead. Let me remind you about the Everydayers Club. Go to lockedonhornets.supercast.com, lockedonhornets.supercast.com. There you can pay for a $5 monthly subscription. If you do so, then you get access to an ad-free audio feed for Locked On Hornets compatible with every major podcast app. You get an invite to the members-only Locked On Hornets group chat. That seems to be the favorite benefit of most members of the Everydayers Club. You get the access to the Everydayer Club Discord server that also features chats for national topics and all other Locked On shows, exclusive access to national bonus shows, and a members-only Locked On Hornets merch store. You get access to that Locked On merch store with exclusive gear. So go to lockedonhornets.supercast.com. There, you can also click on the yearly subscription where you can save 17%. Did you want to read comments? How did you want to tackle this second segment, Doug Branson?
Oh man, I'm pulling up the standings now just to kind of check in and see where everything's at. Oh my God.
Just to make sure that nothing's changed since the Celtics vid. Like, you want to make sure that it's still here, that it didn't slip through our grip and then go to some other team less deserving. I'm with you. I'm going to be refreshing
and the Sixers
it as well.
only beat the Jazz by 4. I mean, that's ridiculous to keep it at 2.5 games back for the Hornets of the 6th seed. That's absurd. In fact, look, at the risk of being hyperbolic, I think what the Hornets did to the Celtics, I think should earn them an automatic playoff bid. I don't care what you can give them any seed. They can be 6th seed. They can be 16th seed.
Reasonable.
They could be Q seed. I don't care. They could be plant seed. They just need to be in the playoffs. I don't care how, Adam Silver, I don't care how you do it. If you want to save the NBA, get the Hornets to the playoffs.
Yeah, you can be Embiid. Don't be Embiid. So what I will say is, if we want to have a real conversation about this, do you want to get into details about the Celtics game, or did you want to talk about like what the real goals are here? I mean, because we can joke championship. Maybe we're not joking now. It's hilarious that there is maybe a middle ground. There is a middle of the Venn diagram of joking and reality. Maybe there are some things that meet in the middle here. You steer the ship. Where do you want to go?
I think it's important to understand how the Charlotte Hornets won this basketball game. And obviously, I think people are going to look at the three-point shooting because it has carried this team all season long. And for the game, the Hornets shot nearly 39%, 19 made threes on 49 attempts. You take that to the Celtics, 10 of 36, holding the Celtics to 28%. But the 10 or the 28% is honestly not even the most important number. It's that they held them to 36 three-point attempts. I wrote this over and over in my Every Hornets Boxscore game notes. They did the impossible, and the impossible is not beating the hell out of the Boston Celtics. I'm sure that's happened this season to the Boston Celtics before.
Only 3 times by 20 points. Not very many times.
But it's happened before.
Yeah.
But I mean, how many times have teams been able to turn the Boston Celtics into a 2-point shooting team? I don't know, but I would venture to say it does not happen very often. They were running guys off the 3-point line. They were taking their confidence away. Derek White just gave up at a certain point and said, all right, I'll just beat you with twos, I guess. And to his credit, he was very good from inside the arc in the second half. But the Hornets, because they're such a good 3-point shooting team, they are happy to trade those twos for the threes that LaMelo is going to give you, for what Khan was giving you in this game, for what some of the auxiliary players like Josh Green were giving you in this game. It was just an absolute joy to watch. But the key to the game for me that we did in the preview episode earlier today was the Hornets had to play faster. They had to get on the run. They could not play the slow it down pace that Boston wanted them to do. And they did that. How did they do that? By jumping pass after pass, for just being more attentive on the defensive end than the Boston Celtics were on the offensive end. You saw it from Brandon Miller, who stole 2 passes, got out of a transition, dunked it so hard, he almost hurt his wrist. Maybe he did hurt his wrist.
Okay,
I don't
looked
know.
like he did.
Moussa dunked it so hard, I thought the ball was going to fly up in the air and fall back into the rim. I don't know if you get 4 points for that or not, but you should. It was incredible what the Hornets were doing, turning defense into offense. That's not how you blow the Celtics out in a regular season game. That's how you win a god-darn playoff series.
Doug, Boston was 5 of 12 at the rim. They took 31 shots in the mid-range and only 34 shots from beyond the three-point line. Only 3 more shots from beyond the three-point line they took compared to the mid-range jumpers that they attempted. Short mid-range, 28, so there wasn't a lot of long middies, just 3 long middies, which is the worst shot statistically, analytically speaking, that you can take. But the fact that they were so inefficient at the rim, in fact, they just shot 41.7% at the cup. That is in the first percentile. It is awful the way that they performed, considering all the other games that they've played. So you're right, the shot quality, that is heavily tipping in the Hornets' favor, especially with all the shots that the Hornets hit. Now you're looking at the amount of threes that Charlotte hits, because everybody's really dangerous. You have the trio of really good three-point shooters in LaMelo and Brandon and Khan. Miles can certainly hit them, but off of the bench, no Grant Williams in this game, who has been very lethal over the last month's worth of time. I asked him this after the FanDuel broadcast yesterday. He was the interview that was presented to us. But Grant Williams is shooting almost 50% from 3 over the last month's worth of games. That doesn't include what Josh Green is doing, who's a top 5 jump shooter in the league right now on lower volume, but we're starting to see it tick up just a little bit. So they hit 19 threes in this game. They hit 20 against Dallas. They hit 16 the game before that. And those are some of the lower numbers. You're talking about 22 threes that they hit against Indiana. You're talking about 25 against Chicago and Washington to, go on that crazy stretch where they hit over 70 and tied the record for most amount of threes hit in a 3-game span. And they also had 23s that they hit against Cleveland. They eventually lost because they didn't have Moussa and Miles, but they're just in fuego from deep. And we're also seeing the defensive intensity really pick up to a point where that seems pretty consistent, where they are forcing teams to take the types of shots that the Hornets want them to take. And that's a great point by you. If you can force the Celtics to take the shots that you want them to take as a defense, then you can get a lot of teams to do what you want. You become the puppet master where they can try to cut the strings, but teams haven't been able to do it.
I think it's amazing what they've done defensively, particularly when you look, everyone has raised their floor defensively on this team. There are still players on this team that struggle to keep guys in front and will probably struggle to do that for the remainder of their career. It's not a team with 11 elite defenders. This is not the Oklahoma City Thunder. What's amazing about the defense is that everyone's giving effort, but the help, everyone playing together, Moussa, Josh Green. I mean, there was a play where Josh Green and Coby White combined to completely take away what Boston wanted to do on the weak side. And everyone defensive rebounds like their freaking life depends on it. It is incredible what they did in this game. And they've been doing it not just against Boston. They've been doing it against all comers. It's been amazing to watch. I want to read a few comments here. I think we should give out a game ball too, to maybe a few people. Yeah. Peen90 says, Doug, what did he say? He said, Oh, this thing is going so fast. Doug needs to wear the bee costume if we make the playoffs. All right, P90, just for you. I will do that.
Just for you. Yeah. Okay. What else you got?
Let's see. If they had Moussa, this is from DM Wells 220. If they had Moussa and Miles, they would have beaten Cleveland and Houston, and the Hornets could have leapfrogged the Heat. The next game is just as vital. That's a great post. Let's see, Mr.
Next game's going to be a banger, man.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, and at home, that crowd is going to be insane, especially for the Heat, where if there is a rival of the Hornets, it's that team. People are gonna. I can't wait for that game. I'll be on the call. I'll be on the broadcast for that game. I can't freaking wait for that one, man.
This is a good one to kind of transition us into game balls. Mr. DMOE23 says, Coby White was a great pickup for us. He did his thing tonight off the bench. Boy, did he. I mean, 17
he was
points,
awesome.
1 rebound, 6 assists, 6 of 9 from the field. Nice. 4 of 6 from 2, 2 of 3 from 3. Added a steal in there, was your game score leader at 17.8. But again, the Hornets, Brandon Miller's at 15.4, Moussa's at 15.1. You've got a 13, a 12. Every night, the Hornets have at least 4 players, sometimes 5 or 6, that are at above average game scores. Same thing happened tonight. Incredible stuff. But Coby White gets my game ball for the defense that I mentioned earlier, but also for the offense, for the way he uses his size. What an incredible pickup. And honestly, I mean, I saw him when he did his halftime interview as he's walking to the locker room. He's still got a limp, man. I mean, he's playing a little hurt. Yeah. I think when he gets fully healthy in the offseason, going into next season, that's probably what it's going to take is a few weeks of not playing basketball and really rehabbing that calf issue. When he gets that thing completely right and the Hornets sign him to a long-term contract, boy, I mean, the Hornets traded for a weapon, folks.
They didn't even have to get rid of one of the other second round picks because of the injury in question. Now that still could come back to bite them, I guess. If he's still limping, they're clearly trying to be as cautious as possible while also putting that guy on the floor because of how much he matters. Did not play on the front end of the back-to-back, so he wasn't available for Dallas. The Hornets still won by 27. But he was amazing. I find that game ball going to Coby, I find him extremely worthy of that. Maybe we give my game ball out on the other side. Coming up next on the Locked On Hornets podcast.
Bees! Bees everywhere!
I wonder who it's going to be.
I know. You can't take me seriously if I give it to him. I can't. You know, he deserves 4 of them, but I can't give it to him. I'll give it to somebody else. I promise. Okay? Believe me. Find out if I'm actually telling the truth. Coming up next, last segment, LOH. I really want to, though. I want to. I want to pretty badly. All right. This episode is brought to you by TurboTax. It's tax time, but for a lot of us, the old way of doing taxes, it's a lot. Trying to book an appointment that's not the most convenient, sitting in a waiting room with a stack of papers, emailing back and forth and wondering if they really get your situation. But this year, you're getting a major upgrade. Intuit TurboTax now has in-person locations nationwide. You can meet face-to-face with a real tax expert, and your documents get uploaded straight to your TurboTax app on the spot. And just like that, you're done. Your TurboTax expert works to get you every dollar you deserve while you get real-time noties as you go about your day. I don't know why I short notifications to noties, but it's not a part of the read. I just decided to ad-lib a little bit.
Straight noties.
I don't know. TurboTax. Do you trust somebody doing your taxes if they say noties? Probably not. It's the relief of walking in and meeting a real person and walking out knowing your taxes are being handled right. Hey, man, did you get noties on the tax updates, bro? Head to turbotax.com/local to find a store near you and book your appointment today. More Locked On Hornets ahead. Noties. LaMelo was hitting some floaties. I like that. Seems like he brought a couple of the floaties to the game tonight. Like that. I didn't know if he was going to go take a dip in the harbor or not, but could have. Bringing that shot to him. I want to give it to Moussa. You're right. I can't, because then I'll just only feed the beast that is the joke about how much I love him. I really like the Coby answer. I'm going to give it to LaMelo.
Oh, wow.
I just thought he was so fun. And I thought LaMelo is still orchestrating the offense at a crazy high level, still getting into the paint and dishing it out to everybody that's open. He has eyes in the back of his head. He's hitting guys at the exact right time. In transition, what I love is that it's not that he has eyes on the back of his head, it's that they're on his temples to where he can see dudes that are filing like right beside him, and then he hits the dish to the side at the right spot, whether they're going to go finish the dunk. Oftentimes it's Brandon that runs alongside him, and then he finishes with the transition dunk. But he also likes to kick out to the three-point line where he has his shooters, whether it's Con Knipple getting set, ready for a LaMelo dish. LaMelo finds those guys constantly. Again, I'm not joking at all. The floater was, it worked for him a couple times in this one. The three that he hit towards the end of this game where it's just the 1 footer, like it's the 1 footer, totally laissez-faire. I'm just better than you. I don't really have to put a lot of effort into this. I'm just going to hoist it up and see if it goes in. And it's nothing but splash zone for LaMelo. That was a ridiculous shot. And again, something that I've been highlighting a little bit, this stat representative of a team stat, but LaMelo had 0 turnovers, only 4 assists, so not a lot of assists in this game, 7 rebounds, but 0 turnovers for LaMelo. Doug, the Hornets, that's their biggest weakness, just collectively in terms of like a normal category people might point to and say this is the difference in the game. Turnovers have been a big weakness for this team all year long. They had 4 turnovers in this game, 4 total, which is crazy to think about. It helps them win wire to wire. I'll give LaMelo Ball the game ball because of how fun he was, and he was ready to go right out of the gate. So much confidence, never laxed in it, and I think that was important to set the tone. LaMelo helped set the tone in this one.
Yeah, he seemed always there to hit a 3 when the Hornets needed a 3. If Boston ever threatened to come back in this game, LaMelo Ball seemed to put the clamps on that. I'm going to, like Brandon Miller in this game, I'm going to steal my game ball away from Coby White, take it all the way to the other end and dunk it and then give it to Brandon Miller because he had 3 steals in this game, 18 points. He absolutely cooked Shireman. I mean, my God, he got on a roll and helped to fuel that pull away that the Hornets were able to hold on to for the rest of this game. So Brandon Miller deserves the game ball, but actually, like Moussa Diabate did to Jaylen Brown, I'm going to smack the ball hard out of Brandon Miller's hands and then give it to Moussa Diabate, who had 9 points, 9 rebounds, and 6 assists. It's
a part of his game.
Moussa.
It's a part of his game.
Moussa.
It's crazy. Like, no, this is what's wild, man, is that is actually a legitimate, real part of his game. And what he's doing a lot now is he's grabbing offensive rebounds, and he doesn't try to force it, which is real interesting. I don't feel like you see that a lot, where if a guy grabs an offensive rebound, the idea is I'm already at the basket. The guy that usually grabs the offensive board usually is tall enough to at least have a 50-50 shot at hitting the bucket or going to the foul line. But because you have so many dangerous shooters on your team, Moussa says, why am I going to try to do this? I could just kick it out, rack up on the assist, and I have a great shot of somebody else hitting a 3, especially on a second chance, right? I don't know what the numbers would say on how much the chance or the odds go up on hitting a 3, but if you miss one, then you grab the board like Moussa, who is unrelenting in his pursuit of the offensive glass. Then you give it to somebody again. You got to think the odds go way up. They do go up on you scoring a 3 on that possession. So now they're just coaching Moussa to say, hey, don't worry about shooting it and then just go and kick it out to the line. Hey, salute. You got it, coach. I'm not worried about scoring in this scenario. The pass is there. You're right. I tweeted out the very first play of the game, they score because Moussa gets the ball at the top of the key. LaMelo sets this inverted pick and roll, really, where Moussa is able to just drive right by Keita and whoever was guarding LaMelo, because LaMelo decides, Matt Alkiza put it best, he said LaMelo was Mike Tolbert, the fullback, just clearing the way in the I formation for Moussa to go dunk it, and LaMelo just has decided that he's going to run into a brick wall 5 times a game this year. And I do love it, even if I'm a little afraid because of the injury history. Just doesn't care about his body in the best way possible, like in the good way. But I want Charles Lee to lean into the Moussa Diabate attacking drop bigs with 1 or 2 dribbles because I'm comfortable with him doing that. You don't want him stationary pounding the rock, but that's not, he knows that. Nobody's begging him to do it. Attack your guy off of the dribble, and you might go to the foul line where Doug, he goes 5 of 6 from the charity stripe. Moussa being acceptable at the line has been huge for his game. And so that you're right. Like Moussa, I'm not really allowed to talk about him because I can't be taken seriously when discussing him anymore. I've done that to myself. I own that, but I'm glad you gave him a game ball here.
Welcome to my world. I can't be taken seriously about anything involving the Charlotte. I've embraced that. I feel like I've come all the way back around full circle. Matthew Katiba on Twitter, or not on Twitter, on the YouTube Live says, this is a fever dream as a Charlotte sports fan. That's absolutely what it feels like. Producer Katie, after the game, said in 2 sentences, explain to me why the Hornets are this good. And my response was, I don't know. I need a drink. Like those are the 2 sentences. I have no idea. I'm just like, I kind of have an idea, but at the same time, not this good. I have an idea why they're really good. I have no idea why they are this good. There's something special that you can't, that's intangible, that's ephemeral, that you can't really speak to, that's going on with this team right now. It starts at the top with what the executives have done to bring in the talent. Matt Alkiza points it out on Twitter. It's become normal for us to understand how good these rookies are, but for the Hornets to be this good, starting Con Knipple and then playing Ryan Kalkbrenner and Sion James as much as they play them, 3 rookies, 2 of them second rounders, is absurd. It is absurd, and it is amazing.
I'm with you. Go ahead.
I wanted to make sure we spend a few minutes here getting to the Sicko Sellies. So
let me get observations real quick. I just wanted to rattle through some observations in this one. Third quarter Kalkbrenner, that's becoming a thing. How about that stretch? Coby White, I want to parlay this into Coby, but there was a Coby fireball in the paint. Kalkbrenner, good hands, able to catch a heater, a 95-mile-per-hour heater, and then dunk it in the third quarter against Dallas. He was excellent in the third after being challenged. Talked about this last episode. Charles Lee challenged him, and he answered the call there. Okay, now parlaying this into Coby, I think it's such a huge addition to have Coby White on this team. And it was something we went back and forth on about backup point guards. And it's just a lot for Sion to handle the basketball and run the offense. Yeah. They don't have to do it anymore. And they're not. They did against Dallas a little bit when they weren't giving the ball to Brandon and saying, make something happen. It was but Brandon and the bench. So Brandon, and then it was Sion James running point a little bit. Like, now you have Coby or LaMelo on the floor at all times. LaMelo played 23 minutes in this game. Like, they're still even managing his minutes just a little bit, and you can when you're winning by 30. But Coby actually has one aspect to his game that LaMelo does that I just did not account for. The fireball laser passes to the corner. Like, Coby in this game, I don't know, there might have been 3 or 4 drive and then boom, on a line, man, a frozen rope all the way to the corner to set dudes up for an open shot. I don't know if I knew that was a part of his game as frequently as we've seen it, but he's made excellent, not only just passes, but far away, long distance passes in the half court that gets the defense scrambling because it's a part of the identity for this team. I just didn't know that was a part of Coby's game as much as we've seen it in the early going for him here in a Hornets uniform.
Lots of people in chat making sure to let us know that Liam McNeely is also tearing it up. Their other rookie is also tearing it up in Greensboro. So there's more coming, and they've got this draft coming up where they have lots of options if they want to continue to load up the back end of the roster, which is really important if you plan to give Brandon Miller a lot of money. Like, your books are if with LaMelo and Brandon's contract, and maybe another star that you want to add, like, the books are going to start getting tight. You're going to need more of those rookie contracts contributing. Here's Charles Lee on Coby White after this game. He says he adds a lot to our environment and to our product on the court. We have a very deep team, but there is something about having a guy like that who's battle-tested, been through a ton of experiences as a high-level thinker and basketball player. You feel comfortable putting the ball in his hands at times, especially at the end of quarters when you want to make sure you're getting a shot up at the right time. or you need a clutch bucket, it's nice to have another ball handler and creator out there with Brandon Kahn, Miles, and LaMelo as well. And Charles Lee, I don't think it's by accident that he brings up the end of quarter stuff, because that was a problem for the Hornets pre-Coby White. They were struggling to end quarters. They would let 5-0, 7-0 7-0 runs happen. And that's, again, talk about preparing your team for a playoff series. You cannot allow stuff like that to happen, or you're going to get 4-0 blanked. Want to bring up one other point on Charles Lee coming into this game. Fourth highest odds in the NBA, according to FanDuel Sportsbook, our friends over at FanDuel. Fourth highest odds in the NBA for Coach of the Year for Charles Lee at plus 3,500. I got a feeling, I hope you got in on that pretty early, because I got a feeling those odds are going to tighten up after tonight.
Okay, so maybe as a teaser for an episode we can do, or I can do on Friday, is we did this on Wes and Walker, just kind of checking in on some potential awards for the Hornets. Executive of the Year, Jeff Peterson has
by a long shot,
right?
By a long shot.
I think how they vote for this, it's not media, it's the actual executives, the GMs, the presidents of basketball operations. They vote on this. But who has done a better job than Jeff Peterson? Even this Coby White edition, I think it's the best last hit. It's the best last shot that even a GM has. And you could say that he already deserved it before the Coby White edition. We'll see how much more of an impact that has. But it feels like it should be Jeff Peterson by a long shot. You mentioned the Charles Lee odds. The thing about him is there have been just a few coaches that have not reached the 50-win mark to have won Coach of the Year. You can go back to Mike Brown a couple of years ago with the Kings. He won 48 games, got to the playoffs outright. Tom Thibodeau did it with 41 victories in the COVID-shortened season. Still probably wouldn't have gotten to 50, but, winning percentage still right about, 59 for him. Go back to Sam Mitchell, 06-07 with Toronto, 47 victories, got Coach of the Year. And then the guy that was 500 or worse, the only one to do it since 2000 by my research, Doc Rivers, when he went 41-41 with Orlando, he won Coach of the Year. So just to give you a ballpark number, Charles Lee probably has to get to or get close to, 44, 45. You'll feel comfortable, not like you're cheating, handing it to Charles. And then if you get a 6 spot, now I think you can feel damn good about giving it to him. The problem is Bickerstaff and Missoula, they've got a pretty decent lead right now with what they're doing. We'll see if it's a big enough lead to just take home the award outright.
Yeah, but I think what could make the difference for Lee is that there will be some more head-to-head matchups with some of those contenders, and you've got to look at the gap. And I don't know, maybe that's why Doc won it that year, maybe 41. I don't know what Orlando's record was the year before. But I mean, for Lee to be the coach last year and to only win that number of games and then to move to whatever they end on, I think that could make a significant difference if they continue to play like this. All right, we're going to stay up a little later than we normally do.
Yep.
But I got to get to some Sicko celebrations. This is the Sicko Brigade. Join subtext.com/Locked On Hornets. You can do a 14-day free trial. If you want to hear yourself on the air, this is the best way to do it. There's just too many chats. You sickos, you have piled into our chat. There are 700 people watching this right at this instant. That I don't even say might. That is a non-draft live record.
Awesome.
Draft live, we've gotten a few more, but this is a non-draft live record for this show. The sickos are out. The hibernation is over. This is amazing. All right, let's go to the first one from the Sicko Brigade. This is from 828, who says, what a game. The defense was fantastic, and we legitimately have 5 guys that could average over 20 points per game. This team is incredible, and I honestly can't think of another midseason turnaround this drastic in NBA history.
So we talked about this too. The only one, the most recent one is Detroit last year, where they had all of these increased wins, and then you see them compete in the postseason. It's pretty similar, where you get to the postseason, you give the Knicks all they can handle. In fact, they might have given, outside of the Pacers who beat them, they gave the Knicks a great test to move out of the first round. So Detroit's the one, but maybe outside of that, it's really hard to find an example pre-Detroit Pistons from just a year ago.
I hope the Pistons are watching, because watch out. That matchup close to the end of the season. Is it the final game of the season or the next to last?
Second to last. The penultimate Pistons game.
Oh my God, I can't wait. CT of the 11th Higgins division saying Joe Mazzulla just called another timeout.
Got to stop the momentum. You got to stop the momentum for the next game, right? You're hoping to stop them before they go on a run.
What's the movie? Deep Impact. He was the father and the daughter at the end, just hugging each other before the giant wave, the tsunami comes, and just like there's nothing you can do.
That's a
Shooting
tweet.
The hurricane.
All right, for all the 800 people, maybe 1,000 people watching us right now, whoever gets to that first, feel free to claim it. Just tweet out the GIF, whatever you want to call it, of Taya Leone and her dad just standing there with the Hornets wave coming at him. That can just be whatever opponent, the Miami Heat, just standing there waiting for the Hornets wave to wash them away in their death. All right, what else you got? Let's read a few more comments.
Yeah, it's Interstellar too, when he's like, those aren't mountains. It's the Hornets. Yeah, producer Evan, we need your help here. We need you to get all of these gifts together. We need the Interstellar scene where it's those aren't mountains, when they discover that they're actually huge tsunami waves. I wish Tsunami Poppy was still on this team. All right, here we go. This is from J-Dog of the 44th Kenny Gaddison division. This is unbelievable. We are truly a dangerous team right now. We have so many ways that we can beat you on offense. He's right. And in fact, they have so many ways that they can beat you on defense now too. That's what makes it even more exciting. Adam says, the fact this was on the back end of a back-to-back makes this potentially win of the year category. Walker, we talked about it in the preview episode. No potential needed here. This is win of the year. And I mean, it seems premature, but I kind of want to just stamp it win of the year. Like, I don't know. I mean, Miami coming up, that could be huge. Detroit, we mentioned that one. Like, if you get that win as a revenge sort of thing. But damn, I mean, the way they beat Boston, I think is going to factor into that discussion.
Yeah, do we let the numbers speak for themselves? If we're setting a non-draft Hive Live record with most viewers, does that speak for itself? Yeah, look at you, Evan.
Those aren't mountains.
I know.
Get back to the ship. Moussa checked into the game. Get back to the ship.
I like LaMelo smiling ear to ear, just on that wave, right there, just smiling while he absolutely destroys you. I love it.
Okay, that's good. Now we'll in just a second. Hopefully, if it exists on Twitter, we can get the we can get the Taya Leone gif as well. All right. This is great. I love these sicko sellies. All right, we just did Adam. Let's go to another one here. Statement says 252. This one comes from 704-681. Yet another incredible game. At this point, the question is, who is getting the hardware? Because somebody has to. That's a larger discussion. We may want to save that a full discussion for another show, like which Hornets players are getting hardware at the end of this season, if any.
That's the episode that I teased. Yeah, I mean, we went through a couple of the head honchos, not players. We went through, coach possibly getting it, Jeff Peterson possibly getting it, but Diabate all defensive team nod, at least second team. Could Diabate sneak into that? I think that's a possibility. I don't think Diabate could get most improved player. I think he's just one of those like honorable mentions, Jalen Johnson, Jalen Duren. Jalen's probably got that on lock, but all NBA probably going to be too late for anybody to really get in contention, especially if you didn't have any all-star appearances. You don't have to make the all-star game. Halliburton comes to mind. Al Jefferson, when he made the all-NBA team, was not an all-star here in Charlotte. But, yeah, maybe we can dive a little bit deeper into another episode with that topic.
All right, let's hit the Nas. We're going fast and furious here on the Sicko Sellies because this is too good of a game. I want to make sure everyone that is supporting us through the Sicko Brigade through joinsubtext.com/Locked On Hornets that they are heard after this one. 864 says, we've gone from making bad teams look good to making good teams look bad. Roger from the 23rd Trey Man Division, a.k.a. the Dose Trey, says, great win by the guys. It felt like they were in control the whole time. Brown wasn't able to breathe. The defense threw him off his entire game. Hoping we can sustain this and make some noise in the playoffs. 423 says league pass on a Wednesday versus the Hornets. You're welcome. So 488 says,
basketball.
488 says, this is a two-parter here. We go from the Killer Bees to the Murder Hornets when we limit the turnovers. Only 4 turnovers tonight. We know we are special. We know we are winners. But tonight showed us that we could be dominant. Oh, man, 488. Let me get the Andrew from the 31st Rambus Brigade over here with some bars. I need you writing for this show right now. That was beautiful. He goes on to say, that said, every time Brandon Miller winces and grabs his wrist, my stomach hurts.
No more wrist injuries.
You know what? I'm not going to think about it. I'm not going to think about it.
Get it out of there. Throw it in the trash. No more wrist injuries. Okay, we still hitting the NOS or we hitting the brakes?
Yeah, no, we got a few. We're still hitting the NOS. We got a few more here. We are actually a great team, like for real. Like for real, says Sean of the 5th Book Night Division. This will be the last one. This will be actually, oh my God, there's so many. Your Charlotte Hornets are plus 145 in their last 6 games. Coby White is the skeleton key. The Moose has never been looser, says 650. And this one from 395 is just a gif from The Simpsons of Homer holding a leprechaun who's trying to fight back, but just can't. And then here's what I want to end on. You ready for this one? I want to make sure I get the name here if I put it in the notes. This is Hunter from the 43rd Joe Wolf Battalion, who's going to close us out here because he's a sicko and he knows this show too well and he knows me too well. It's very simple. It's in all caps. It says, no mock drafts yet. No, sir. No mock drafts yet. Okay. We're not in mock draft. We would have been in mock draft territory like 2 weeks ago. Last season, the season before that, we would have already been on our 3rd mock draft. Not this season, folks. Not this season.
That's how you know it's good. When Doug doesn't want to go to the mock drafts, when he has no thought at all to go to the mock drafts, that's when you know it's good. Thank you guys for joining us on this Hive Live edition of Locked On Hornets. That's the way that you did. That's the defense. That's the Celtics defense right there. Let me Adam Scrappy do defense. Doug Branson laughing in the background. EveryHornetsBoxscore.com. Go check it out, people. Also producing for Yahoo Sports Daily with Jason Fitz and Caroline Fenton. I'm Walker Mail. Listen to me, WFNZ, every weekday, 12 to 3 p.m. Sports Radio 92.7 FM. I'm telling you what, we're going to be talking about the Hornets a lot tomorrow, okay? A lot of Hornets talk, going over the hardware, going over what's real with this team in terms of what they could accomplish. Weston Walker, anywhere you get your podcast, we'll upload that digital content there. Also, WFNZ app, WFNZ.com, and 92.7 FM terrestrially. And by the way, I did want to give a shout out to Evan Hale, who's just been great for us, man. Like already immediately a part of the family. Knew he would be, but just been awesome for us. Really unlocked. You talk about the skeleton key. Like we were just talking about it before. Really unlocks a lot of what we can do. We needed help for all this content, and Evan has been awesome for us. Go follow him on Twitter at The Real Evan Hale. He's real too, just like the Hornets.
It's still real to me, damn it. I love it. Producer Evan, P.E. on the GIFs and GIFs.
Oh, man, he's the man. At The Real Evan Hale, go follow him there. Also, creating his own content as well, writes and helps Doug out on everyhornetsboxscore.com. We appreciate him for propping us up here on YouTube. Have a great rest of your day. We'll give you one more show before the week closes out, and we'll get ready for Miami. Oh, my God, that is going to be a banger. I'm excited for that one. Have a great rest of your night.
See ya.